welcome to my live. We're gonna call today's look farmer chic. Sorry, I just realized I look a little slightly like a farmer. If you did not know, I have a farm. We have 85 animals, I believe, 84, 85. So we have a lot of animals, but yes. Anyways, welcome to the live. I thought it'd be super fun tonight to do a giveaway. And I know I did one 2 weeks ago that I will be posting about at some point. But I have not gone to there yet. So I'm so sorry about that. Thank you. So hello everyone that's joining, welcome. I am not giving away a violin. I'm so sorry. If I give away a violin, I would have to buy a violin and give one away. Unless I could convince a violin shop to do a giveaway with me. We'll see. Maybe at some point. I am going to talk about a violin today because I got sent a few, which is very exciting. And every time I get sent violins, I generally send them back, meaning like they're not giving me violins. They are sending me violins to try. I try them out and then I send them back. So just so you know, I'm not just like accumulating tons of violins here. Anyways, completely off topic, but yes. No, the title did not say, the title said giveaway. The title did not say I was giving away a violin, but yes. Anyways, what I am giving away is I'm giving away, first of all, a free lesson with me, a private lesson, one-on-one. I'm going to tell you how to do all that later. And then the other thing is also, I just made a vibrato book called the Vibrato Code. And that is the other thing that I am giving away. So those two things, and I haven't decided if I'm going to give it to just one person or maybe two different people. I'm gonna like see how many people. I think I'll give it to one person, and then if a lot of people enter the giveaway, I might just do like 2 free lessons and 2 free books. So that's kind of the plan. So anyways, just want to say hi to everybody. Oh my gosh, yes, someone says that they have your violin actually use your videos to get better. Oh, it's amazing with vibrato and everything. Okay, awesome. I love that. Well, welcome everybody. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, this is what is kind of my plan for today, is I am going to go through the questions because I have not been live in 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. My little boy was sick last week and I kept trying to get live, but I need to be there for him. So I did not want to have to be on a live and then jump off at some random point. So I was like, I'm just gonna let it be. We'll do it today, next week. So that's why we're here. So I'm so sorry about that. Now, okay, let me tell you too, before I like jump into everything else about the giveaway. So like I said, if enough people enter and there's so many people that I need to do 2 separate people, I will do 2 people. Like meaning I will give 2 people the entire price, but like what I'm giving away is a free lesson with me and my Vibrato Code book. Those 2 things. Yes, I'm going to tell you at the end of this live how to enter. And it's going to be something very random. So you have to stick around, or I guess come back at the end. Hopefully you don't miss it, because it's only going to be open for 1 hour after this live ends, okay? So it's not gonna be crazy, don't worry. I'm like building it up. It's not crazy, trust me, okay? But that's the gist of it, okay? So just so you know, so you're aware, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so we're gonna jump into questions because like I said, I was not live last week. And so I have a kind of a buildup of questions. Just to let you know too, if you are here and you ever have a question that you really, really want answered in a live, I always try and like flip through everybody that is here live and answer all of your questions as well. But just so you know, I always post on my community page on YouTube saying, hey, I'm going live. Usually I'll post it on a Sunday night. Hey, I'm going live tomorrow. Post any questions here that you have and I will answer those first, okay? So if you ever have a question for me that I don't get to in a live, or if you really have a question that you want answered and I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, post it there because it's a little bit easier for me to start with those questions and then jump into the questions on the chat, because sometimes it can get a little crazy. I know. Okay, so just so y'all know, that's the best way to do that if you have questions. But I'm still gonna try and get to all of your questions that are here, hopefully within the evening. Okay, we're gonna jump into it. I'm gonna try and make my answers short for the ones that were here and concise, and usually I can ramble, and I don't want to do that tonight. I want to make sure I'm very concise because I feel like I have a lot I want to talk about. Okay, so let's jump into it. What do I want to answer first? Okay, we're gonna answer this one first. I'm not gonna shout out people that asked questions. What I am gonna do, I'm just gonna tell you what the question is and then the answer to the question. Because people's, I'm gonna go into like the whole saying people's username. Okay, so this person says, okay, so you keep going on about it. Why dark rosin? If you do not know, I am obsessed with dark rosin, so much so that I I made a video all about why I love dark rosin. But basically, the reason that I love dark rosin, hello everybody, welcome. The reason I love dark rosin is that it is stickier and it's a little bit bitier than a light rosin. And I don't know, it just might be me that like all the rosins that I found that were light, they were not good. And then yes, so dark rosin is my absolute favorite. Specifically two specific rosins. I don't think I don't think I have either of them sitting with me here right now. Usually one would be in my case, but I have this other violin today. But yeah, specifically the Kaplan, if you look in any, I'll actually link it on this video when it posts in like a few, after the live, when it posts, I'll post them. It's the Kaplan rosin. It's on Amazon. It is amazing. It comes in this cute little case. If you've seen any of my videos, you've heard me talk about it. You've seen it. You know I'm absolutely obsessed with it. So I love that rosin. And then the other option that I also love, I believe they call it Cecilia now. When I bought it way back in the day, and I still have my rosin cake from way back in the day, it was called Andre rosin, and it's a little bit more pricey, but it's definitely a professional grade rosin. But that's another one of my favorite rosins. The only thing with the Cecilia, I believe it's called Cecilia, I'll link it just in case I'm wrong. The only thing with the Cecilia rosin specifically, this is not any other rosin, just the Cecilia rosin. If you do decide to use the Cecilia rosin, you cannot use any other rosins on your bow at all. After you put this one on, it will actually, if you use the Cecilia rosin, you put it on your bow, you try it out, you're like, this is amazing. One day you forget your rosin and you use your friend's rosin. Now you put your friend's rosin on your bow. It will actually strip your bow of all the rosin possible on your bow, and you will have to get your bow rehaired. This actually happened to me, this exact scenario, and I did not know that. I was not aware of that. So if you do decide to use the Cecilia rosin, just be aware of that. You have to only use Cecilia rosin on your bow. Don't loan your rosin out to anybody else unless they plan to use Cecilia forever. So just so you're aware. It's a great rosin though. But yes, Kaplan is probably the one I would recommend for anybody else, like unless you're wanting to go for a really expensive rosin. Kaplan is my favorite. I use it, honestly. So I know that was, sorry, a little bit longer than I was expecting. Okay. How can you teach your fingers to learn to change the speed of vibrato? This is something that honestly, it's practicing with a metronome. So if you have learned vibrato, like hopefully everybody at this point has pretty much learned vibrato, because I'm doing a vibrato series this month. If you did not know that, every single video I'm posting is all about vibrato. Plus I have the Vibrato Code book. I love vibrato. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and I feel like it's, yeah, anyways. So how do you change the speed? Basically what I would recommend doing is to start practicing with a metronome. And this is a video I am not putting out this month because I think it's such an advanced technique that sometimes it's tricky, but I will be putting out a video next month called The Advanced Techniques of Vibrato, or something along those lines. where I will talk about how to practice vibrato with the metronome, how to add it into songs, how to do slower, faster, wider, narrower, all the kinds of different vibratos you can possibly imagine, like how to do them all and how to learn them and integrate them into songs. So stay tuned for that, because that's kind of a tricky one to like explain, but essentially I would start practicing with a metronome. So set your metronome at 60, and then start counting oscillations per beat with the metronome, kind of like we talked about last week in how to practice vibrato. Go back to that video if you haven't seen it. We talked about counting oscillations. Do that, excuse me, I'm so sorry, same exact thing, but without counting it per bow, count it with the metronome. So it makes it a lot harder. You have to be a lot more consistent, and it's a little bit trickier. So that's the reason I've not talked about that yet. I like to gear my videos towards more beginner / intermediate students. I feel like that's kind of the range that I notice with my subscribers, with you guys, and I love teaching that level. I'm a professional violinist, but I love teaching that level. So that's kind of more the direction I take it. I'm sure you can look up online any other violinist on YouTube and they can also explain it for you, or you can wait until next month, sometime mid next month it comes out, that video. So yes. All right. Can you go over some tips for a beginner to get motivated, to get some motivation to practice while learning other instruments, please? So I believe I saw Justin on here actually at some point. Justin, shout out if you're here. He asked this question. I think it's the same person. I might be wrong. Anyways, so what I would say though is that oh yeah, Justin's here. Okay, hi Justin. We're answering your question for you right now. What I would say, Justin, to be totally honest with you, is that it's very difficult to learn multiple instruments at the same time. So just so you're aware, I have this philosophy that I stand behind with everything I believe in, that a lot of people don't agree with. Personally, I think you should only choose one instrument and play that one instrument. Specifically, if you are learning a stringed instrument, specifically if you're like, I want to learn the violin, or I want to learn the cello, or like, they are very, very difficult instruments to learn. They will take you years and years to get really, really good at, just how it is, okay? It's they're the hardest instruments to learn. If you want to play the flute and the clarinet and the trumpet and the oboe, great. But as soon as you do a string instrument, first of all, string instruments do not, like, just because you play the violin does not mean you can play the cello. Like, my sister plays the cello. I have tried so many times to pick up her cello and play it, and I sound awful. It will take you, like, to me, it doesn't make sense. Violin takes so long that it doesn't make sense to me to play two instruments. You're going to have to be focusing on one of them at a time. This is my personal opinion, okay? So I'm sorry if you don't agree, but that's what I think is, don't play multiple instruments at the same time, especially if you want to be a professional violinist. I'm blocking this person. Oops, sorry. Sorry. How do I do this? Okay. Sorry, that was very distracting. I was like, what is happening? Yes, so that's what I would say, is that if you are going to learn multiple instruments, just be aware that the violin is going to be one of the hardest instruments, and it's just gonna be a lot, okay? So, and to get motivation to practice, if that's also an issue and you're trying to learn a lot of instruments, I wanna be a music teacher, that's why. Still, even if you're a music teacher, I taught music in school for a long time, and I still think that being really, really good at one instrument is important. You can always pull in teachers, like, and I've done this before too, like I've gone in as like a, I can't remember the word for it, like a special, like you have a special guest that day, and then you have like a flutist come in and like coach your flutes, or a violinist come in and coach your strings. You know, like you can do that. You don't have to be amazing at every single instrument. And as a matter of fact, I think it's not a good idea to be amazing at every single instrument, because then you won't be. Does that make sense? I'm so sorry. I don't know if this is making sense. I'm trying to make it make sense as I'm saying it, but I'm also trying to say it quickly. Anyways, so do with that what you will, but that's my personal opinion, is be very, very good at one instrument and do not try to be a jack of all trades, because it is not, you're not going to be a professional. You know, it's like people that do so many things, they're not good at any of them. And you're like, okay, so you can mediocrely do all these little things, but nothing is like amazing. Okay, anyways, my rant is over. Thanks for asking the question though, Justin, and for being there, being here. Yeah. Is it normal that vibrato fatigues out halfway through a song? Yes. Now, let me tell you about this. So if you find that your vibrato is essentially like crapping out halfway through and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do it anymore, it just means that you need to get like, you need to practice it more and just keep going and like just keep practicing it like you're probably still new to it. At this point, I can play in a rehearsal for how long? Rehearsals are like sometimes 7 or 8 hours, sometimes multiple times a day for hours and hours, whatever. My vibrato at this point does not crap out or fatigue, whatever you want to call it. Because I've been doing it for so long, and my vibrato is it's like a muscle. You have to like exercise, and the more you exercise it, it's more like it's better and better. So just kind of think of it that way. Just keep practicing it. Like if it stops, it's like if it craps out and your vibrato's like, I'm done, just keep practicing it, okay? That's all I can say, is you're probably still learning it and it's getting back into it. Which violin and brand is good to buy for new beginners, please? Okay, so I have such a strong opinion about this, and the reason is that I have the absolute pleasure of working with Kennedy violins. They're so sweet. They send me violins, but I am like so specific. They have sent me violins before that I have literally tried, and not even like, usually I'll make a video about it and I'll say, hey, this is a great violin or whatever. If they are terrible, I will literally not even post the video. I will send them straight back and be like, I'm so sorry, I do not like these violins. So I try to be as honest as possible for you guys, because I believe that having a good violin is extremely important. And if you can have a good violin at a good price, oh my gosh, yes. So that's kind of where I'm at with violins. So anything that I'm recommending, it's literally because I had an aha moment or whoa, this is so awesome, and not because I'm trying to push a specific violin on you guys and be like, buy this violin. But if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I am obsessed with the Louis Carpini violin from Kennedy Violins. It is one of the best violins I've ever played in my entire life. For a student violin, it's incredible. Like literally, it's so good that I brought that violin to professional gigs and played it. And this is a student violin, you guys. So that is the violin that I would highly, highly recommend. It's the Louis Carpini G2. I even call her Louise. I'm obsessed with her, like obsessed. A few things I would say is when you order the violin from Kennedy Violins, I will leave a link in the description for it. Change the strings out to dominant strings. Dominant strings are so much better than a lot of other strings that they put on violins. And sometimes, like, let's be honest, they kind of put slightly crappy strings on violin. Get dominant. The other thing I would say is I'm obsessed with carbon fiber bows. If you are not, no shame. I am. So we're just here, okay? And they sent me their carbon fiber bow. I would highly recommend upgrading to their carbon fiber bow. Or, do y'all see this? There is blue hair on this bow. This is the most gorgeous bow I have ever seen in my entire freaking life. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's stunning. So I would recommend, actually, I know this is crazy, but like, this is like me living out my childhood fantasies of really, really wanting like a bow with colored hair. You guys, this is what I would upgrade the bow to. Also, it's a very, very good bow. It's a student bow. Okay. We're not over here trying to spend hundreds of dollars, but oh my gosh, you guys. So they have green, they have blue. They sent me all of them. I am like living out every fantasy ever of my childhood, wanting to play with colored hair. This is amazing, right, you guys? Okay. Anyways, I'll stop. They're very, very good bows too. So I'm extremely impressed. They're the only thing I'm playing on currently. Yes. So that's what I would recommend doing. Get the Louis Carpini violin, upgrade it to have dominant strings on it, upgrade the bow to be a carbon fiber bow. Specifically, if you want a colored haired bow, get one of these ones. If you don't, just upgrade to their basic carbon fiber bow, which is also very good. The wood bows that come with it are just, they're not my favorite personally. I know a lot of people that love them. So anyways, okay. We're gonna keep going. How do you develop consistency with your vibrato? Sometimes my vibrato is beautiful and crisp on all fingers, and other times it's harder to vibrate. That's because of warming up most of the time. I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the most beautiful vibrato I've ever played in my life. And then other times I'm like, what is happening? Warming up, it's how do you develop consistency is by having a consistent warm-up routine, not just like a consistent warm-up routine for your vibrato, but a consistent warm-up routine for everything. So it's like how I always say to practice your scales first, practice your intonation first, and then jump into exercises. And then the very, very, very last thing you're going to warm up is your vibrato. Once everything else is warmed up, then you warm up your vibrato. That is the best way to create that consistency for your hand, for yourself. I'm so sorry. Okay. Great. Those are all the questions there. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. Jumping on this one, there's just a few little ones here, I believe. I'm always nervous playing near people, so I don't play much. I can't do it without messing up if someone's watching. This is Jax asking this question. I'm shouting her out because she has the most amazing, I believe this is her, hold on, let me make sure. She has the most amazing little violin channel that I love. Jax617. She posts very cute little videos. I love it. Okay. I don't think don't be nervous. You play really well, and you have to remember that, I'm gonna try and explain this quickly. Nervousness comes from the same exact part in your brain that excitement does. So this, how do you explain it? This synapses, I don't know. Whatever it is, comes from the same exact part in your brain. So whenever you're nervous, you can actually trick yourself into thinking that you're excited instead. So if you feel the feeling like you're on your way to the concert or whatever, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. Do not say that ever. Say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to perform. Okay, you have to change the mindset, because that's all it is a mindset thing. And performing is such a mental game. Okay, so that's the thing you have to do, is you have to stop and you have to say, I'm not nervous, I'm excited to play, and just switch that constantly. Every single time that feeling comes up, switch it immediately. Okay. Another thing that's really helpful that I do a lot is if I know I have a solo performance coming up, I will literally get into the dress I'm going to be wearing. I will walk into my living room as if I'm like walking onto the stage, and I will imagine being at the concert hall and performing with the orchestra or piano, whatever you're playing with, and just imagine that. Like, it's the best way to do it, like to get your mental state there and to feel all the feelings you're going to feel that nervousness and go, I'm excited, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, and just switch that. So I think that's kind of the best way to do it. You have to switch your mindset. It's a very, very intense thing if you do not. And if you let your brain run amok, it's going to get worse and worse and worse, to the point that you struggle performing constantly, and you don't want that to take. Yeah. I really need help on third position for my song. I have to do it on April 30th and I'm scared. Practice third position. Practice all your scales in third position. Do C major, D major, E major a little bit. You can do it with a harmonic. Practice them all, 2-octave scales in third position. And just kind of like everything you can do anytime you're playing anything and you notice, hey, I could probably play this in third position. Do it in third position. Third position is one of the easier positions to do too. It's one of my favorites. I always feel like you should have first position and third position should be your two main positions that you know. Third position's pretty easy generally, because let me show you. If you shift up, it's kind of where your hand ends up sitting naturally. So you're here and then you're here, and that's third position. So it should be a fairly easy position to get to, and you want it to be that, like that position that you're super duper like, oh, there's my third position. So just practice that a lot. I got the opportunity to perform a concerto with my orchestra in a couple months. Do you have any tips when it comes to not shaking so much on stage. I'm scared this is gonna make me fall. So exactly what I just said to Jax is the same exact for you, is to do exactly what I just said. Pretend like you're walking out on the stage, imagine it all happening, and then switch your mindset to not being nervous, to be excited. But also like being used to playing with those feelings and knowing what it's going to feel like and using it to fuel your playing rather than hinder your playing. Does that make sense? So just, yeah, it's a huge mindset thing. Something you can study that, I can't remember what the book is called, but there is a book out there. You might have to Google it. If I can find it, I'll post it in the link in the description, but it's basically, he's a coach for athletes. And he like has coached the biggest athletes like LeBron James and all, like, I don't even know. I don't know a lot of athletes, but you know, like the big names, he's coached them with how to be calm under pressure and how to use nervousness to your advantage. And he's basically helped them switch their mindsets. And there's a book, the entire book about it, that's incredible. Right now, I cannot think of the name of it, but I'm going to, and we'll get there. Okay, you guys, let's answer some of your questions now that we're here. Okay, closing my laptop, not answering any more of those questions. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going back to the very beginning of the chat because I want to make sure I say hi to everybody. Is Top Hat Banjo still here? Play some Irish tunes at the farmer's market. That's so fun. Okay, amazing. I'm working on Star of Munster. I don't even know that, but that's super cool. All right. Wolfart 11. Yep. So fun. Random question. What song piece do you find the hardest? At this point, I can kind of play anything. I don't feel like anything is particularly like out of, because I've been playing for 30 plus years. I don't know exactly how long I've been playing for. So I don't find anything like super difficult, but meaning like out of like I can't play it. It just takes a little bit more practice. I love Paganini. Paganini is always difficult. Every time I go to play it, I have to practice it before I can just like whip it out and play it. Yeah. I use light rosin. That's totally fine. You don't have to, you don't have to use dark rosin, whatever works for you, but I personally am obsessed with dark rosin. Okay. Hello. Someone says, what's rosin? Okay. You talk too much. Thank you. I'm on a live where it's like literally just me. I don't know how I can talk less. Like, what? Do I need to put pauses before things? Okay. Oh, someone says they're a new subscriber and violinist. I'm older, but look forward to learning this new instrument. So amazing. How would you recommend bettering your skills for fourth finger vibrato? Let's go there. So I personally have an issue with fourth finger vibrato where my fourth finger cannot do the noodle bagel as perfectly as the rest of the fingers can. So he does actually a little bit of arm vibrato, but with a little bit of a mixture of wrist vibrato in there, but he doesn't do noodle bagel as well. If you watch my videos, you know my 5 steps to learning vibrato. I talk all about how to do noodle bagel. So if you have any questions about that, go look at those. But yeah, so he'll do a little bit more of a slightly rocky motion with a little bit of noodle bagel in there, but just a lot less. So he's one of the things I would say to practice slowly noodle bagel. If you can get it, you will have the most gorgeous fourth finger vibrato. I'm trying to think of who I was just watching the other day, one of the violinists who has the most gorgeous noodle bagel fourth finger vibrato. Like, oh, so stunning. It's not my vibrato. I need to practice it probably a little bit more, just to be totally candid and honest with you guys. But yeah, that's kind of, I kind of roll it a little bit. Another thing that I do is I bring my thumb up a tiny bit higher to support my hand and to help my fourth finger have a little bit more freedom of movement. If that makes sense. So, oh my gosh, sorry, I can't move the camera. That's not on purpose. Um, I play violin but want to play cello, even though I want to switch. I also don't want to give up violin, but I can only play on room my school. What do I do? I think probably you're saying you can only play one instrument at your school. Just play one instrument. Just play. We just talked about this with Justin. Just play one instrument. Don't play two. Don't do it. Use your whole hand for fourth finger vibrato. Love that tip. Thank you. Play violin. Okay, there it is again. I tried your vibrato technique and it didn't quite work. Is there anything I could be doing wrong? There's so many things I could be doing wrong. I'm just gonna be totally honest. Especially like I try to make my videos as clear as I possibly can and try to speak in as plain of English, so I'm not trying to like sound all like musical about how it's supposed to happen. Like I want it to be as clear as possible, but even with it being as clear as I'm making it, sometimes it doesn't come across. I'm not gonna lie. Especially for some people. So what I would recommend for you is do one of two things. Either go onto my Instagram, which is the same exact handle everywhere. Go on my Instagram, send me a video. I don't care if it's a faceless video and it's just you're like your hand doing vibrato that you want to show me. Send me a video of it. Like I'm happy to kind of look and see what I can do to help and what might be going on for you. The other thing that you can do is you can see if you can get a private teacher to kind of help you with it. Because sometimes it's those things that it's really difficult to, just do, but lots of things can be going on. I'm actually learning, Justin says, I'm actually learning flute and violin and clarinet. Good for you. No, honestly, sorry. It's honestly, Justin, kudos to you. Do what you need to do, you know? All right. Please talk me out of practicing vibrato because I've only been playing since Christmas, but I do it well even according to my classical instructor. Oh, then why do you need to stop practicing vibrato? To me, if you're at a place that you're doing it really well and everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's actually incredible, don't stop doing it. Yeah. How much should I spend on a bow in percentage wise regard to the violin? It's totally up to you. So I have a very expensive bow. It's a few $1,000s. I can't remember exactly how much it is at this point. And it is a wood bow that, just don't like it at all. And so I have a quite expensive violin, but I use, like my personal violin, I use a $600 bow. I think I even bought it for less. Like it's gone up in price at this point. It's one of the Coda Luma bow is my absolute favorite bow ever. But I use that bow, and I think I bought it for like $400 or $500, and I think now it runs for like $600 or $700. But my violin is 10 times, 20 times, I don't know. My violin is much more than that. So it kind of just depends. I don't think that it's a relative, like how much should I spend? It's a go and try some bows. Like if you're ready to spend a few $1,000s on a bow, go and try bows. If you're just spending a few $100s, maybe just like try a few bows from like maybe Kennedy Violins or a few different violin shops and see. They will send you bows, by the way. If you email them and say, hey, I am looking to try out a bow. This is kind of my price range. This is what I'm looking for. They will send you a few and you try them out, pick which one you like and send the rest of them back. So yeah, just a little tip there. All right. I want to be a music. Okay, yeah. So many mean people in here. Jeez Louise. I play drums in jazz band class. It's a credit class, and apparently my teacher says I'm really good at it. So cool. Sometimes the bow is more than the instrument. Yep, that's very true. Someone keeps asking what happened to my face. Okay. What should I know if I want to be able to read violin sheet music? Oh my gosh. I'm actually going to post a video about this in a few weeks, hopefully. Just about like basically how to read violin music. The first thing you obviously need to know is you need to know face on the treble clef. The spaces, so there's 5 lines and 4 spaces. The 4 spaces spell face from the bottom, F-A-C-E. on the violin, this is so good to know because A, the F, A, C, E, those are your two open strings, your A and your E. So if you can find A and E, you can kind of figure out where everything else is. So those are the two most important things to know is face and know where the A is and know where the E is. That's just a tiny little tip that I'll throw in there, but like, cause it's kind of hard for me to be like, this is everything you need to know for reading music. But that's what I would do. The other thing is as you're trying to learn to read music, I would always write the fingers in. Like write your, like it's A, it's 1, 2, 3, something like that. Don't write A, A1, A3, whatever it is. Don't do that. Just write the individual fingers and teach yourself what string that is on just based on that, okay? And then as you get better and better at that, slowly write less. Write less fingerings into your part. And then just start to force yourself to have to learn it. So yeah, anyways. How do I know if I'm vibrating wrong, if it feels right? So there's a few things. First of all, I've talked about this before. Your fingers are not supposed to roll back and forth. Like they're not supposed to do this. Some people do this. That's not the movement. It's actually supposed to come from this distal joint right here when you do vibrato. Even, it doesn't matter if you're doing wrist vibrato or arm vibrato or finger vibrato, which is not really a thing. It's always gonna come from that joint right there moving back and forth. So it's a back and forth motion. It is not a side to side motion. Yeah. So even if it feels right, might not be. And I would say have your teacher, obviously if you have a teacher, they'll be able to walk you through that. I'm learning violin, but also ukulele. Yeah, the ukulele is not a real instrument. You're fine. I am pregnant. Yes, I'm very, very pregnant if you can't tell. Okay. How do you develop consistency with your vibrato? I feel like we actually just talked about that. So that's so funny that you're asking that question here. We talked about that a little bit. What's the best way to get a fit for a chin rest? I have never done that before in my entire life, actually. If you feel like you need a different chin rest, a lot of times you might need a different shoulder rest. I would just get a very basic, like just a chin rest like this. Honestly, I would say that 99% of my friends just use a very basic chin rest that comes kind of on the violin. I have a few that will get the ones that are like freaking ginormous. That's not my thing. Yeah, I would just see if you can get a basic one because a chin rest should not be the issue with how your violin sits. It's probably a shoulder rest issue or it's a placement issue. Yeah, don't worry about a chin rest. Just get a basic one. And if you feel like it's incorrect or like off, just try ordering a really basic one from Amazon and putting it on there and seeing how it goes. Yeah. How come when I'm using vibrato on slow songs and quiet parts, my bow and violin seems to kind of shake? I just made a video about this. What was it called? Biggest mistakes, 3 biggest mistakes, vibrato mistakes, or something like that. Anyways, and this is one of the main things that I see is that when you try and do vibrato and everything's shaking, it's one of 2 things. So practice your vibrato with your violin up against, like put your scroll up against a wall so that it sits there and you can't move. And now you're isolating your hand just to practice vibrato. The other thing that it could be is that your anchor, which is this right here, that's what I call it anyway, is on. Make sure it's off the violin as you're practicing vibrato. Because if it's on the violin, your violin will shake. Because you can't physically do vibrato and hold on to the violin at the same time. You have to take that off. Does that make sense? Okay. Trying to get these quickly. Is the pinky vibrato a different mechanic than the others? We just talked about this a little bit. I personally do it differently than the others, but that's me being lazy and I need to practice not doing that. So I do it a little bit more, arm vibrato. I was trying to think of the word, arm vibrato. If you look, the movement's coming from my arm. Whereas if I do my 3rd finger, it's coming from the wrist and then arm. you see that change? So I personally do a little bit more arm vibrato on my pinky finger, but if you can get the noodle bagel, which I just need to practice it more, it's beautiful. Okay. How long have you played? I've played for 30 years. Oh, okay. So Ryan is saying that you want to go to a luthier. Yep. Okay. I've had problems with my chin rest and you can get it fixed. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Go to your luthier. Check it out. Okay. This chat is too crowded to get answers. I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay, how come my vibrato causes my bow to kind of shake in my violin when I play a slow and quiet song? Oh, wait, I just answered that. Okay. Yep. How can you teach your fingers to learn to change the speed of vibrato? I answered that already. My wife thinks a car is honking outside when I practice my violin. Oh my gosh. My baby doesn't like it when I practice either, so you know. All right. I recommend the Tonic app by Ray Chen. It's a very welcoming community to play with audio only, and others can join your practice and give feedback. Yeah, oh, I've heard of that. I've actually used them a few times and had one of my students use them, and I loved it as well. Is it okay to leave chin rest on violin? Are you talking about the chin rest or the shoulder rest? Yes, leave your chin rest on the violin. The chin rest should always stay on the violin. In order to get it off, you have to have a special tool that can actually go and like loosen it. So yes, your chin rest should be staying on your violin. Are you talking about maybe your shoulder rest? Then yeah, your shoulder rest obviously comes off the violin every single time you put it away. Corey, can you show me some tips to get my fingers on the tape? That is something I'm assuming you're talking about, like the tapes that are on the violin. I don't have any, obviously, but it's just muscle memory, and it's lots and lots and lots of practice. And every single time you play, you have to be very specific about how you're practicing. You have to make sure that every single time you put any finger down, you're putting it down in the correct place, because it's, like I said, it's muscle memory. And if you place it incorrectly one time and you kind of go, it's fine, whatever, it's gonna keep going into that wrong place, and it's gonna get worse and worse, and now you don't have any control over it at all. It's kind of like, I feel like it's like a dog that you, yes, we just got a puppy, so I'm using this analogy. It's like if you allow your dog to go, to not sit one time, you give him treats. The next time he's like, oh, I don't have to sit. Like, I don't care that you're telling me to sit. I'm not gonna sit this time. Like, why? Right? And so it's just, but if you create the consistency of like, this is how it's going to be, then that's what your finger is going to do, right? So every time you put your first finger down, say you have to be on the line. It has to be on the line. And if it's not on the line, you have to go back and fix it immediately. And you're just training that muscle memory. That's the same thing with every single one of those fingers, is just training that muscle memory to go down in the exact same place every single time. And it's tedious, and I know it's tedious, and I'm aware of it because I've been playing the violin for 30 years, so I know. But yeah. I just started learning violin. I've watched so many people, many roll their bows when playing. Is that for vibrato, or does it change the sound? That is a great question. So when you're learning, there's nothing wrong with playing just with all your bow hair on the violin. But as you get better, you will find out that you want to actually slightly tilt your bow hair towards your nose. That's not going to add vibrato. That's not going to add anything like that. It kind of actually adds a little bit of sweetness, because the more bow hair that is on your violin as you're playing, the louder, the more bite you're going to get. But then as you tilt your bow a little bit, you're playing on slightly less bow hair, and it's going to sound a little bit sweeter. So compared to this, or violins a little bit out of tune, but that's kind of, I hope you could hear a difference there, but there's the full sound and then kind of the slightly more sweet sound. So that's the difference. And also it's very important to make sure that when you do start tilting your bow hair towards your nose, you don't go taco wrist. Your fingers still have to stay really, really curved over the bow, even though you are tilting it towards you. Don't let your wrist come up. Yeah, so has nothing to do with the vibrato. Okay. Dark Rosin, why? I think this is the same person. I answered your question in the very, very beginning. Like, I think it was the first question I answered. So go back to the beginning of the chat. It's there. Or yeah. Okay. Da, 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 da. Is there a difference between dark and light rosin? We did talk about this. Yes, there is. I love a dark rosin, so that's all I'm going to, what's the word? Recommend. But yeah. What piece do you recommend for a high schooler? That really depends. Like what? It depends on like where you're at. So for me, I would say if you're in high school, you should be playing like the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. But if you are still learning, maybe you're just playing the Vivaldi Concerto or something like that. So it's really hard to say because those are like completely different levels. Yeah, so I would get a teacher if you don't know what's a good song to be playing or piece. Okay. Oh, someone just got a viola. That's amazing. Dun, 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 dun. I'm a violist and struggle with pain and strain in my shoulders. Any tips? Yes, so many tips. Okay. Don't practice sitting down. Don't ever practice sitting down, especially if you're struggling and have pain in your shoulders or whatever like that. Do not ever practice sitting down. Practice standing up. When you do practice standing up, making sure that your shoulders are rolled all the way back. Thinking of where your head sits. We're going to get very technical for a second here. Your head needs to sit exactly, directly, perfectly on your spine as you play. So line up your entire spine and your body and then put your violin up on your shoulder. Or did you say viola? Viola. That's even worse. It's even more important with your viola because the viola is so much heavier. So line up your entire body. You will never sit down and play. Unless you're an orchestra and you absolutely have to, then you are sitting on your sit bones in the very, very edge of your chair. You're not leaning back. That's the worst thing you could do for your back or any strain or anything like that. When you put your viola up on your shoulder, making sure that your head is still perfectly balanced on your spine and then bringing it over and not letting anything tense up as soon as you put it on your shoulder, being very, very relaxed about it. You might need to get a taller shoulder rest or a shorter. You might need to, oh my gosh, I'm trying to speak fast, but then that's not very clear words. You might need to get a taller shoulder rest or extend it, or you might need to get a shorter one depending on where your neck is at. Because if you find yourself, you have to put your neck down onto the violin, now you're all coming out of alignment with your spine. So making sure that it can just very gently touch your shoulder and that's it. Also making sure as you're playing, I notice this especially with the bow arm, that a lot of people will raise their shoulder up and that's obviously so tensing. Don't do that at all. Bring that shoulder down, making sure your shoulders are staying nice and low and relaxed and just practicing honestly, like for a while till you can like manage the pain and like get the tension gone. Practicing just very slowly and just kind of figuring out where it feels correct. And it might also just be that you have, I'm not sure, but you might have recently picked up the viola and you're trying to practice for too long. Because that's also something you have to build up those muscles. And if you all of a sudden pick it up and you're like, I'm gonna practice for 3 hours every day, your muscles are gonna be like, what the heck did you just do? Like, what is happening? So you might have to like work up to longer practice periods. I hope that kind of helps. Okay. I've been playing violin for 3 years now. I'm hoping to expand into cello as well. Good luck. Do you know the minuet songs? I do. Which minuet? Minuet 1, minuet 2, minuet 3. Or like Boccherini minuet. Or like, there's so many minuets. What is the black wood frame behind you? This is a picture frame thing, or a something on my wall. Small fingers. Very amazing. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to read all of these and get through, figure out which ones are not worth reading out loud. What is the best time to learn vibrato? Ooh, this is a great question. I recommend so go watch my before you learn vibrato video. I think there's 3 things you have to do. First of all, you have to know your posture perfectly, correctly, like be able to play. And then the second thing, you should be able to play a basic G major 2-octave scale. I think you should be able to slur it by 4. So it should sound something like this. I have not tuned my violin. Sorry. But something like that, just very basic, very beautiful, be able to play really nicely. And the other thing is you have to have, I think that especially if you are teaching yourself vibrato, you don't have a teacher, you need a shoulder rest. Because again, you're gonna start shaking your hand. You have to figure out, make sure that your violin is nice and secure on your body. So being comfortable with that, and also making sure that your fingernails are super short, which is the one. Okay. What is the best tip you have for a violin player that's struggling with vibrato? Go back, practice very, very slowly vibrato, very slowly. Get my Vibrato Code book. If you stay to the end, you might be able to win it. Go get my Vibrato Code book, do the 30-day vibrato challenge that is in that book. It's going to teach you exactly, slowly, how you need to learn vibrato. I think people do not realize that vibrato does not take a week. It does not take a day. It takes months. It takes a very, very long time to learn. So I have the 30-day vibrato challenge in there where you can learn vibrato in 30 days, but that does not mean you're gonna walk out of that 30 days playing vibrato perfectly, because there is that is going to teach you how to do vibrato. And then after that, it's about transferring it to first position. It's about figuring out how to put it into songs and just kind of getting it moving and using it more and more and more. So yes, but that will get you started in a very, very good place to be able to continue by yourself with how to do vibrato. So that's what I would recommend doing, is going very slow, going back to the very beginning and just starting over. I know that's a lot, but I don't use shoulder rest. I'm on the dark side. I use a tall chin rest. Okay. I went to Hobby Lobby, cut a sheet of thin leather. It's so funny. I love that. Oh my gosh. I like your bow. Yes, the bow is amazing. Sometimes when I tighten the bow, the frog, when tight, will be slanted to the left or the right. Normal? No, not normal at all. Probably you need to get that looked at by a luthier or a bow guy. I'm searching for music. The Grimm, I don't know that TV show. See if you can Google it. Thought you were in your 20s. No, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I don't use my shoulder rest either about half the time. I've not found one I like very much either. Okay, listen, hold on though. Listen, I would recommend figuring out one or the other, because just like we talked about with somebody who was saying that they're struggling with like shoulder tension and stuff like that, that's what's going to happen to you. Like, you never have the same exact way that your violin goes up on your shoulder every single time. It's always different. So now you're always trying to figure it out and be like, where does it need to be? What is happening? Your hands are never going to be in the exact same place. So your intonation is never going to be perfect, because everything's a little bit shifty. So I would either choose, I'm using a shoulder rest or I'm not using a shoulder rest. And if you need to find a shoulder rest that works good, do that. I would say that 90% of my professional violinist friends use something similar to this one. This is essentially like the Kuhn model, K-U-N, shoulder rest. This is one though that I believe this is, again, Kennedy Violin sent me that with the violin and the bows and stuff. But I think this is a great shoulder rest right here too. I would just get a really basic shoulder rest. I found that the ones that are kind of crazy, like the Bon Musica and I don't know, they're just a little bit much for me. You don't need something like that. All you need is something where you can align your head and put your head over onto your violin and it's even, and you're not having to do like bring your shoulder up or bring your chin down or anything crazy. But I would pick one or the other and not do both. Pick one or the other. I'm a very decisive person, which is actually funny. My husband would probably say different, but with violin, I'm a very decisive person. I want to replace my chin rest. Where do I take it and where do I get one? Take it to a luthier. See if you have a violin shop in your area that you can take it to. I would say though that 90% of the time, it's not the chin rest, it's the placement. Get a very basic if you can. Since so many people are asking this, I'm gonna look on Amazon and see if I can find just the most basic chin rest you can possibly find. Just get a very, very basic chin rest and that's it. That's all you need. I would say that all of my violins have this very basic chin rest and it's perfect. Like I don't need something different. If you need something different, it's probably like the placement on your shoulder or maybe your shoulder rest or something else going on. I have had a few violins that have a weird chin rest on them. That's not this one. And I'm like, what were you trying to do? Okay. Like, no. Yeah. I'm not sure if you, yes, Ryan, I do remember you. I remember you because of your dog picture. I like it. I'm not sure you remember me, but I have been working on the Brook First Movement for a while and I'm still very inconsistent with the opening. Sometimes it's good, but wondering if you have any tips. Yes, so many tips. Ryan, practice slowly. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do already. Practice slower. Practice every single note one at a time. Practice it with rhythms. You know how the opening, okay, my violin is extremely out of tune, so excuse me. I would say practice that. Maybe you just practice those 3 notes first. And then you practice them. Just like doing it different ways, mixing up the rhythms, playing it slowly. I'm trying to think what I did when I was learning it. It was so long ago. My teacher had a very specific method of teaching it. Like she actually had like an entire book that she'd made on like every single measure of the Brook Concerto, essentially. It was insane, but it was so good. You walked out knowing the Brook Concerto like nobody's freaking business. I'm trying to think what it was that she had us do. But yeah, I would do rhythms with it, like Scoobies and Doobies. I would do like long, short, and short, long, like change up the rhythm for it. I would practice every single note individually. You want to be consistent, obviously. You want to play it the same exact way every single time. Obviously, if you change up the inflections of it and you hold one note a little bit longer and you do a little vibrato here, like that's fine. But like intonation should be the same every single time. Generally it should be the same every single time. It's a cadenza though too, so you have like the freedom to do what you want. Intonation should be the same every single time. How can I tell how old my violin is? Look inside the violin. If you look on the, what is this side? The same side as your chin rest. Look in there, there's a label in there. Like this one says that this violin was made in 2024. It says inside there. So you can find out there. Use a very small screwdriver to remove the chin rest. Yes, or there's like a little, what do you call it? There's a tool that you can get to. Whew. Fingers on line every time. Helps your ear to learn the right tone. Yes, intonation is hard. Yeah, that's so true too. It helps your ear. It's not just the muscle memory. It helps your ear to know how it's supposed to sound every single time. That's a great ad. Thank you so much for adding that. Also was recently in Rochester and played with the All-State Orchestra at the Eastman Theater. So cool, but felt discouraged after I did not get a great chair. I was wondering if you had tips on orchestra. So orchestra is weird. Depends. Orchestras a lot of times is about politics. And if you play the politics, you get a good chair. If you don't play the politics, you might not get the greatest chair. So it's kind of all about who you know, who you're friends with, you know, that kind of thing, who your teacher knows. Yeah, it's a little bit politics sometimes. Other times it's not. You know, it kind of depends. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe this wasn't a political thing, but you obviously had to have auditions, so it kind of depends on how your auditions went, how much you practiced for your auditions, what you played for your audition. There's a lot of different things. I'm actually thinking there's somebody I just met who has like a channel where he talks all about auditions. I can't remember his name. I'm gonna try and have him on one of these lives because I feel like you would really like him, Ryan. I'll let you know when I have him on. But yeah. Sorry, I meant shoulder rest. Left on all the time. Yes, yes, it should be removed. Yeah, I figured you meant shoulder rest. Going back to the ribbon guy, I thought that's what you meant. And with your tips, I also got into the orchestra with 100 all-state solo on Winter Vivaldi. What? That's so amazing. Congratulations. See, okay, there's like highs and lows of music, right? You never know, and it kind of just depends. So like, just keep doing what you're doing, because clearly you're doing something right, because that's amazing. Vivaldi Winter has to be my absolute favorite of the seasons. Great job. That's amazing. My fiddle won't fit in the case with the shoulder rest on. Yeah, you have to take the shoulder rest off. How long does it take to master vibrato? So it kind of depends. It's really hard for me to say, like, I can't say it will take you this number of days. It's not possible to say that, because everybody is different. Some people, like even on this chat here, some people have been like, oh my gosh, I picked up vibrato in 5 seconds. Or I didn't even learn vibrato, and all of a sudden, like, I was just doing it. Other people are like, dude, I have so many issues. Like, what's wrong with my vibrato? I was one of those people where I had so many issues with my vibrato. That's why I am so passionate about it now, and how to do it is because I had so many issues, and I struggled so hard with learning it, and it was awful and not fun at all. And I was really sad, and I remember crying many, many times about it. So that's why I'm so passionate about it now. But I will say that it takes, I would give yourself a minimum of 2 to 3 months to learn it. And that's with pretty consistent practice. Oh, look, someone right here says 3 months to master vibrato. I would, yes, I would give you at least that much time. And honestly, I wouldn't even say to master it, because I am still practicing my vibrato to this day. Like I said, I need to practice my 4th finger vibrato a little bit more. It's just something that you always need to do. Okay. I'm learning a lot from your tutorials. I'm a beginner. I just completed 11 lessons, Suzuki book. Amazing. Can you please share some easy tricks to learn vibrato watching from Texas? Okay. So first of all, a few things. Vibrato is not a beginner technique. If you've had 11 lessons on the Suzuki books, you're not ready to learn vibrato. Do not learn vibrato until you're in book 2 minimum, okay? Usually I'll start teaching vibrato around chorus, which is the first song in book 2, okay? So wait until you're in book 2. Just focus right now on learning the violin, on getting very, very good at the violin, on learning the intonation of the violin, of learning the bow on the violin, because honestly, all those things are going to, if you're not good at any of those things, it's going to send everything out the window as soon as you do vibrato, and going to be 1,000 times harder. So that's what I would recommend, is just do those things. Okay. So amazing, so amazing. Okay, you guys, I am so sorry. I need to end this. There's so many questions in here. Okay, can you guys please, I'm going to post again. We're doing another live next Monday, okay? Don't worry, I do one every week, most of the time. As long as my baby's not sick or something doesn't come up. I'm gonna do one next week again, okay? So if you have questions, like, I love all these questions and I wanna answer every single one of them. If you have questions, go onto the post. When I post it on Sunday night, go on there, post your questions immediately, so that I can make sure that your questions that you have right now are the first ones that get answered next week, okay? I'm so sorry. I'm going to get to all of them, but there's so many. Okay. Yes. So that's what I would recommend doing. Okay, we're gonna talk about the giveaway. Are you guys ready? Who's ready for the giveaway? I don't know what I was expecting to happen. Okay. Okay, here we go. We are going to, this is what you're going to do. If you want to win my Vibrato Code book and a free violin lesson with me, which is crazy because I don't really do that, you need to go on my video that I just posted. Now you can't do it yet. Hold on. My video that I just posted called, let me just double check what it's called so I know. The 3 biggest vibrato mistakes and how to fix them. Go on to that video. And I want you to comment an emoji only. Your favorite emoji. Maybe, I take that back. Comment a violin emoji. only one singular violin emoji on that video. And that's how you're gonna enter. So that's the first thing you have to do, okay? You only have 1 hour to do this, okay? So it's right now, at least my time, it's 9 p.m. I'm gonna look and see in an hour how many comments were posted in the previous hour, okay? So I'm gonna look again at 10:09 p.m. I'm gonna give, 10:15. Let's say it ends at 10:15. So you have an hour and 5 minutes to do this, okay? Go on to that video, post a violin emoji. You have to be subscribed to my channel. You have to be subscribed to my Instagram. I know, what? My Instagram is the same exact handle, at Corey the Violinist. I'm not, I feel like I'm making this up on the fly, but I didn't write down everything I was planning to do. But yes, go do those things. You have to be subscribed to my channel. You have to post a violin emoji in the next hour and 5 minutes on that video to be included in this. So if you're watching this later, I'm so sorry. It's already done, I'm sure. And you have to go onto my Instagram and subscribe to my, or follow me on Instagram, Corey the Violinist. It's the same exact one. Okay? And then you will win a Vibrato Code book and a free lesson with me, okay? In the next hour. I am going to like one of the comments, one of the violin comments, whichever one wins, and tell you to send me your email, okay? And then you have to go onto my Instagram and DM me your email, and then I will send you the link for all those free things, okay? That's what you have to do. Sound good? So many people saying they don't have Instagram. You can go, I think you can go, okay, if you don't have Instagram, email me. I have it in my my bio on my YouTube. If you don't have email, if you don't have an email, email me that you don't have Instagram, so that you can still be, just email me the violin emoji. Don't worry about it. Don't do anything crazy, okay? Sound good? Yes, comment the emoji on my last video, the 3 biggest mistakes violinists make. 3 biggest vibrato mistakes. That's my last video that I just posted, okay? A violin emoji over there. You have to go also follow me on Instagram. If you do not follow me on Instagram, you need to email me so that I know. Yeah, okay? Go. Next hour and 3 minutes at this point. All right, I will see you guys in a week. And yeah, let me know if there's any videos that you'd like to see in the future. Yeah, I love getting to chat with you guys and getting to know people. Like, Ryan and I are friends now at this point, you know? But yeah, okay. I will see you guys next week. Bye.